Yeah? What's the problem?
In the head.
So?
I had my whole body out.
So what? So what? Tell me why not. Tell me why not. You don't know. Okay, cool, thanks. Game on, carry on.
My whole head out.
Are you still moaning, mate? What are you moaning about?
Your disclaimer said no headshots, right? Like, if you know,
Dude, this is a fucking pistol. I ducked around the corner, took a snapshot at you, hit you, you're moaning.
Don't sign it.
Mate,
Don't sign it.
I have no words to describe
I have no
how silly you look.
I signed something that says no headshots, right? But, fair enough.
Okay guys, last week I attended an event at Anzio Camp, which is run by First and Only. It's a CQB field, there's a lot of buildings there, it's a fun place to play. Unfortunately, the day did not go so well, and there's a lot of moaning from players. Most of it that I witnessed was about headshots. So for a number of years, most of you guys who follow me will know that I have a view that fields that make a big issue out of headshots, usually when they're put under pressure by a selection of players at the field to do so, it encourages even more moaning. Complaining, and there's a sort of general bad atmosphere that results from this sort of rule creep, where you fields make more and more rules about headshots, and more people then complain about it. So the best events I've attended across Europe are the ones, and when I say best, I mean the best atmosphere, the best player attitude, and the general enthusiasm from players to shoot each other and to be shot themselves, of course. And those fields are usually the ones that welcome players to the field with a message of, we're here to shoot each other, you're paying to be shot, and if you complain about being shot, we're not really interested in you being here, and you can go home. So at the event, I mean, that's just my experience. So I don't know, maybe you've had different experiences, but in my personal experience, they're the best fields that have the best attitude from players. It's the attitude of the community comes from the community leader and the way the field and the field rules are presented. Now, at this event at Anzio, they had a waiver, and the number one rule at the top of this, literally #1 rule of their waiver is, I agree that I will not shoot anybody in the face or head under any circumstances whatsoever. That's in black and white, the number one rule. And during the briefing, the field organiser made a big deal out of this waiver as well. He made everyone say out loud that they all agree to the waiver and that they would not intentionally shoot anybody in the face or head. It is, of course, their field, it's their rules, and we could either agree to them or we can decide not to play there. Now, the previous 2 times I've been to this field, I had not heard that emphasis on headshots. I personally have a personal rule that I will not attend fields that have these anti-headshot rules because of the reasons I just highlighted just a moment ago about it creating issues and problems in the field. So I was surprised to hear it because the previous 2 times I've been, I'd not heard it before. So after the event, a few days ago, I posted a clip on Instagram of an incident that happened with a player that got flicked in the head from about 5 meters away. And so I took a shot with a 6-shot revolver, and this player ended up complaining about it, and it ended up disrupting the game. So this wasn't an isolated incident, though. There was a number of players moaning about it, and we'll go into that in a little deeper detail with some evidence from the field owner as well about the intensity of the moaning on the day. But the point I was making in the post that I put up on Instagram and Facebook was that the player has a fair point. Like, this is not about the player, this is about the waiver, and the waiver is very, very clear. And the video I posted up was not an attack on the player, and it's not about me in so far that it was my video and it's my point of view, but the reason the video was posted is it is an example of what happens when fields make a big issue out of headshots. And what I feel was so poignant about the video was that the field organiser stopped the game on the day in the afternoon due to the intense amount of moaning that was occurring. So this video is not an isolated incident. It is, in my opinion, that a large, probably not all the moaning, but a large amount of the moaning on the day was a result of the briefing given by the organiser. He made a big deal of everyone standing up, saying together they agreed to the waiver of no deliberate headshots under any circumstances. That was the point I'm making. Now, a few days ago, he made a response to my video he did a live stream and he talked about it, and he raised a number of points that I would like to address here. So, yeah, let's watch through his live video.
Right, well, we've got plenty of people watching now and everybody's going to have all sorts of questions. And the big one, there seems to be a big hurrah about a video that James put out, Kicking Mustang put out. And it's a bit ambiguous really, and it doesn't really show, but I think it was one of his good efforts to try and get people to sort of look at his videos and get, to try to fish people in and things like that.
Yeah. Of course, my video was posted to raise awareness of what I see as a rising problem happening within the UK airsoft community, which is unnecessary moaning about headshots and the disruption it causes to the game. So yeah, it was posted to raise awareness.
So what it shows is he's at a doorway and he's got some sort of 6-shooter, some sort of pistol, and he shot somebody, and the fella's saying to him, why have you shot me in the head? Weird, I don't know. So I don't know, because the other part of the video is not there where he's actually shot him, so I don't know where he shot him.
I mean, the thing is, originally that part was missing. Okay, that part was missing. You can see it at the start of this video, and here it is again playing now, but it is irrelevant to the point I'm making. This was not an isolated incident of moaning on the day, but it was the clearest example, and the moaning player was correct, and the point of the waiver was clear. So the player's correct.
But the comments on the video are that first and only don't allow headshots, and that's just the way it is, and we must be doomed and terrible and all sorts of things. Oh, for God's sake. So what's the actual truth of the matter then? Yes, on our insurance waiver it does say, and this is from like 20 years ago when we started off, the insurance company said what you're going to put in there, and we don't allow headshots. A lot of it came across because at the time we had to do it from paintball, and in paintball you're not supposed to have headshots. So that's where it all came on, and that's where that insurance waiver came on. We've kept it because we always had a fallback, and what you do is you get people sometimes that wander into a game and wander around the site just shooting people in the head. That's not on. It's not on. I mean, we all get shot by mistake. I get shot all the time by mistake just being a marshal, and getting shot in the face. It happens. I mean, I've got 2 false teeth shot out. I'm not bothered about it. These things happen. And I've seen all sorts of comment about, man up, I'm a man, you're not, because I don't mind being shot in the face, for God's sake. So it's interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting. It is interesting because the vast majority of players play airsoft to shoot and be shot, and they don't mind being shot to the head. Like this is the majority opinion within the airsoft community. It's part of the game. It shouldn't even be an issue. As you know, it's interesting. He said it's interesting, and it only becomes an issue when fields empower people to moan about the headshots and the game gets disrupted for everybody else as a result. Yeah, it's interesting.
So what do we do at First and Only? Well, all the sites do the same thing. If a presented target is more than your head, you get expected to shoot somebody in that target. So the one I give, what we don't want though is repeated shooting in the head. So on Saturday, we gave that brief. I gave that exact brief, and it's funny that whole bit's missing from the conversation.
No, it's not missing from the conversation, because my whole point is that he made an issue out of it in the briefing. He made everyone say out loud together that they agreed to the waiver about headshots. Everyone agreed to the waiver. This empowered people to moan about it on the field. That is my point. That is the whole point of my point. Now, whether that was his intention or not, as I illustrated in my clip, the moaning was a result of his brief emphasising the waiver. That's my point.
That are not been presented, which is interesting in itself. But I didn't see the shot. I don't know where the shot was, and I'm not. You know, these things happen. Sometimes you make a high shot. These things happen. You know, nobody's going to go complaining about it.
I mean, again, like I agree, and I really do not think Jamie, the field owner, and myself are actually that far apart on this. These things happen. People are going to get shot in the head. It's airsoft. However, that is not how it was presented in the brief or in the waiver.
We've all got face protection on, or we should do, and it's all brief that you should have face protection on.
Yeah, I agree completely. 100% agree with them. People should have face protection on. Problem solved.
What I don't like is the way that the player is treated. Now, I watched this video a few times, and let me tell you about this player. He's turned up for his first game, and I spotted him, and I noticed him because he had bought a gun, and we tried. You wanted to buy a 2-tone gun, and we said that's fine. Then we brought it to the chrono, and the bloody new thing wasn't right. It was over. So, and then I'm watching that video, and I'm thinking, well, the only thing that he knows about the rules and how things work is what he's been given in the briefing.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. This is the point. And I do not believe Jamie, the organiser, again, are that far apart on this point, because my point is, and what he's admitting to here is, he needs to take responsibility for this new player's reaction to being flicked in the face. His reaction was a direct result of the briefing and the waiver, which he emphasised the issue of headshots. And by the way, this player in the video, he's not a kid, he's a grown man. He's wearing just shooting glasses. He hasn't got any full face protection on, and he was not dressed as a typical rental. He did not look like a first timer. He looked like he had at least some experience of airsoft by the gun he was using and the way he was dressed. So, yeah.
And then on the other side of this, you've got James not being very nice. In fact, being very, very, very disrespectful.
Very, very, very disrespectful. Mate, come on, get a grip, right? I was being blunt with him for sure, okay? At this point of the event was being dragged down by a large amount of moaning that was taking place. And this was not just a single isolated example of a player disrupting the game. The moaning, and this player was moaning about something that did not need to be moaned about. And it was just part of a bigger problem on the day.
Not only that point of being disrespectful, I would put it to the point that he is bullying a brand new player who doesn't understand the rules.
Please, mate, like bullying, right? Bullying. Get a grip, right? Again, the organiser here is backing up my point, because the player, this new player, really does not understand the rules, which were briefed by the organiser. The organiser needs to take responsibility for this player interrupting the game with the rules that he briefed. Those rules were no intentional headshots, and he made the entire field say out loud together that they had read the waiver and signed it and understood the no headshot rules.
All he knows is what he's been briefed in the morning, and he's making a question. The guy says, "Why have you shot me in the head? I'm all body showing." For me, it really does highlight things, you know.
Yeah, again, it really does highlight things, which is why I used it to highlight things. Agreed.
I was defending, because I was laughing because James and I, we crowed his gun in the morning and his rifle, and it was right on the edge. I mean, it was proper hot, and he decided not to take it.
This is a lie, right? He is lying. It's a lie, right? My VSR is not proper hot. It's set just below 2.3 joules on the 0.48 gram BBs that I use. It fires under 450 FPS on 0.2s. I've used it almost weekly for over a year now. It has the same power, the same consistency. It's never ever once failed chrono on 2s or on the power it's used. He's lying here. It's not proper hot, as he describes it.
He's been playing with pistol all day, and he was doing great. He was playing all right.
Again, this is a lie. This is a lie. He's lying. This is ridiculous, right? I chronoed my VSR in the morning, so it was there as backup in case my planned gameplay with pistols was not working out. I planned for days in advance for this event, and I was going to play pistols only with some grenades. You can see a screenshot here with a mate of mine who I was chatting with from WhatsApp. It shows my plan to play pistols only. Not only that, when I chronoed my VSR, I put it through on 0.48 gram BBs, so Jamie, the organiser, could measure it on joules. He then asked me to put it through on 0.2s. I asked him why, as I was using 0.48s. And his reply to me was that he needed to check to make sure I was not joule creeping. Yeah. So I pointed out to him that I am joule creeping, and that is why I need to chrono on the weight I'm using. But whatever, he put it through on 0.2s and it was at 450 FPS or 448 or something like that. So he then sucked his teeth and said, I'm right on the limit. And I quote, knowing me, he's not surprised at that. I'm right on the limit, and knowing me, he's not surprised at that. Now, he doesn't know me. He really doesn't know me. And it's a really strange comment to make. I'm also not sure he understands how dual creep works, but okay, whatever. It was a really strange moment. Just odd. I wish I'd recorded it because it was kind of funny. And also, I wish I recorded because I do not appreciate him telling his community I had a proper hot gun. That's a lie, it's wrong, and he should apologise for that.
And I was defending people because people were saying to me, I've been shot in the head by kicking Mustang. And I was like, have your balls. That sniper over there did it.
Again, like here, so here he's again supporting what I'm saying about the day. The field was full of people who were constantly moaning, and I was using pistols. I was using a gas blowback HK45 with 2 mags. It was near freezing conditions as well, a Tokyo Marui, so it would have been really low power. And I was using a 6-shot revolver, which fires well below 1 joule.
It's not him because he's not brought a bloody rifle out, And then that video come out, and I was like, oh, right, so he did shoot somebody in the head. I was defending somebody all day for that.
Like, again, he supports my point that the moaning was all day long. And it was so intense that he even stopped the game in the afternoon to tell the entire field to stop moaning.
But I think it's endemic of the airsoft society today. The people that are involved in it, they're in 2 camps, very much so. There's the people that play, enjoy it, have respect for each other. The hobby's about what it is, and enjoying shooting, being shot. Camaraderie, all that stuff. And then there's a creeping amount of people involved that are just, well, I play, I do my thing. I'll just do whatever I want. I'll just come to your site. I'll do whatever I want. I'll play the way that I want. Why are you not letting me play that way? Why am I not allowed to do whatever I want? And we've seen this off and on again, coming in. And especially, I think Anzio is one of those sites that people come to from all over the country and try different things. And they've all learned different things. And we always appreciate that as marshals, as people understand and have different understanding of the hobby. But there is a creeping disrespect coming into the hobby. Now, the last time this was seen was in paintball. And don't forget, everybody at one point walked onto an airsoft field, and that was their first game. So imagine you would come to your first game, you'd listen to the rules in the morning, somebody had shot you in the head. Fair enough, you weren't sure, like, why have you shot me in the head? What's going on? I don't think you were allowed to shoot me in the head.
And again, here he supports my point. This new player was reacting in a way that he'd been led to believe the game was played as a result of the brief and the waiver.
Then you get a mouthful like that, like, man up, what are you doing? Are you a child? Are you carrying on with yourself? I've got big boots, And then later on, so you went and go and asked the marshal, is that what should be happening? Is that what's going on? And then the fella comes back and gives you another load of why you chatting to a marshal or whatever else was said. It's just like, no, it's just not on.
Okay, so on this point, could I have ignored him? Could I just, when I was walking through and I saw him moaning to the marshal again, could I have ignored him? Yes, you could take that point of view. But in the context, that's an opinion, right? So my opinion is, within the context of the constant moaning that was happening on the day and the disruptions that were happening throughout the game day, my reaction was understandable if you take it in the whole context of what's happening on the day. Now, I'd made an 8-hour round trip to play that day, and in the end I recorded less than 2 hours of gameplay footage from the day, and the reason for that was because of the length of the briefings and the lunchtime. And in fact, the morning and afternoon briefings, plus the interruptions, plus the lunchtime, with the organiser giving lectures to people about all the moaning that was taking place, was longer than the actual amount of gameplay I recorded. So within that context, you understand why there was frustrations building up. Not just myself, but a lot of other players. A lot of players left early afternoon because of what was happening that day.
It's sad. And I think the video that James has put out isn't good either. It doesn't show him at all in a good light. It's not him saying, oh, first and only don't allow headshots, or this or that, or that waiver says this. It does, the waiver says that, and that's the rules we put in, and that's understood. All the players that play at our sites understand that.
Again, he made it very clear about the waiver, and the brief he gave in the morning made sure of that. It was very clear. So yeah, I agree.
But dude, you need to respect other people or the sites you're visiting or me. You didn't come to me, you've not spoken to me.
Spoken to him, like, come to him about what? Like, it's his site, it's his rules. And the example I raised was to raise awareness of a growing problem that I see within the UK airsoft community. When fields, my point is, when fields start to yield to the anti-headshot crowd, it causes disruptions and stress on the field. More disruptions and stress on the field. That is my point. Not good at all. So you were in a conversation before where you said, I don't want to go to sites that don't allow headshots. I'm like, fine. And you said you're going to stay away from first and only for a bit. Fine. Okay. We don't bear no ill will. Yeah, and I don't bear any ill will either. Apart from the lies he said about my well-hot gun. That's a blatant lie. But what happened that day with all the moaning and the example I raised is, and the takeaway from all this, is that myself and many others in the community are seeing this gradual rule creep and the empowerment of these airsoft justice warriors in the community, and that is detracting from the enjoyment on the day. And that's my point. It's not about, but it was a perfect example of what I have been saying for a number of years now that I've seen. I
think for me, what I always try to do is teach players, and I train my marshals, we teach players to become better players. No matter who you are, what's going on, we can all become, I can do it. I mean, I've been playing 20 years and there's still more I can learn. And funny enough, the people I learn most of are new people. So when a new person comes to site, I watch them because they pull all sorts of tricks and do things that they've seen in computer games or whatever. And it's like, actually, that works. That's a really good move. But we are in a danger of getting too big for ourselves and, thinking we are the big eyes. I don't mind getting shot in the face, whatever. Well, that new person doesn't. And if we want to build our hobby and grow our hobby, what we need to do is bring people into an environment where they are welcomed. They see that there is respect in our hobby. Okay, and that somebody's not going to go there just to go shooting them and getting them in the head so they get extra likes on a video.
Okay, there's a couple of points here. Okay. Firstly, I travelled an 8-hour round trip, paid to play the game, endured his briefings and lectures, and a lunch hour, and those combined lasted longer than the actual gameplay I played on the day. It is not the responsibility of myself or any other customers to welcome anyone to his business. It's the responsibility of the business to do that. He is talking here about respect, but in my opinion, that respect starts with you are paying to shoot and shoot each other and to be shot. And respect starts with players on the field wearing the correct protection that they are comfortable with. And if players turn up just wearing shooting glasses and they then complain about getting flicked in the face, that, in my opinion, that's not respect. For me, the basis of respect starts with each player taking responsibility for wearing the protection that they are comfortable with. And he touched on earlier in the video that players should wear full face protection, which I agree with. If you do not want to be flicked in the face, wear full face protection. That is where respect starts on the field for me.
So everybody that's
actually, and he also, and the second point he makes is here that people, and presumably he means me or other YouTubers, but presumably he means me, turn up to headhunt to get likes on videos. But frankly, he doesn't know what he's talking about here. This is a casual presumption. It's just a casual aspersion. He's doing this in an effort to defame me, and it's exactly like what he did with his lie about the hot gun, saying I've got a well hot gun, saying I just turn up to headshot just to get likes on videos. This is simply not true. Like, not only did he lie about my well hot gun, he's trying to use a compassionate ruse. So he's using compassion to pull the wool over people's eyes. He is saying that I'm just there to injure people or shoot people in the head to get likes. He's trying to use this ruse to make out that I'm the problem rather than the point I'm raising, which is this overemphasis on headshots and lack of personal responsibility causing the disruptions on the game day. It's kind of it's a collective argument that he is trying to create a them and us. So you're either with him or you're against him. I'm out to hurt people for personal gain while he cares for the growth of the community. This is this collectivist, fake, compassionate. The premise of it is wrong, because not only are the assumptions wrong, it's also dangerous to make this them against us. And when I say dangerous, I mean it's divisive. So he's trying to divide the community between people who are compassionate like him and people who are nasty and mean and injure people for likes like me, which is just not true. On a number of levels, it's just not true. So, yeah.
We need to think about this now and think about the way that we are perceived outside. People watching these videos thinking that airsoft's all about shooting people in the head. Well, it's not. You and I know. We all play airsoft.
Again, here he's trying to play this compassionate ruse again, trying to pull the wool over people's eyes about my intentions of the point I'm raising. It's a straw man argument. Not only is it irrelevant to the point I'm making, it's a fake compassionate ruse, and I'm not having it. It's wrong. It's wrong.
It's about camaraderie. It's about respect. It's about having a good time playing war games. You know, the struggle of either winning, losing. Either way, you have some adversities. Yeah, adversaries as well, of course. Overcoming them.
Yeah, I agree. We agreed here. Agreed. Airsoft's cool. Everyone has a good time when it's based on the right foundations, which is respect. And clearly what I base my respect on, which is people taking personal responsibility, is different to this crowd that are starting to develop, which is people shouldn't, by having this anti-headshot rule. This is the main difference. I believe in personal responsibility.
Challenging yourself, getting fit a little bit. We are the ones that are whatever, you know, we're superior or whatever, or I'm the best, I make videos, or whatever you want. But you can't treat people without respect. Okay? If we want to build our hobby, we ain't going to do it that way. So
again, more compassionate rusers. He's trying to divert attention away from my point, which is, if you empower the airsoft justice warriors who complain about being flicked in the head by making rulings or by using briefings to empower their anti-headshot stance, there will only be more moaning as a result. That is my point.
All in all the wind, all the matter and everything about first and only and headshots and all that's gone, because it didn't really matter in the first place. But what it was hiding was the underlying issue of respect in the hobby. And I'm speaking to everybody out there, doesn't matter who you are, and I don't hold grudges. People make mistakes, they make mistakes. And I talked to somebody else the other day about the way that they were perceived and the way that they behaved. And they would normally walk off a field and they would have, 80 people I might have interacted with, and all of them would leave and say, yeah, what a top guy. He left that day and he had at least a whole side of 60 people going, wow, is that what he's really like? Wow, that's not good. You know, and it's just going in with the right mentality. Something that I think is affecting it is this COVID situation. I think people are stressed. They're going online, they're going onto computers, they're communicating on there, and they're doing it very negatively. And it's also creating them against us. And
okay, a couple of things here. Well, actually, they're them against us. That's exactly my point. What's happening here, creating a them against us by ruling and empowering the airsoft justice warriors who are campaigning against headshots. It creates a them against us, a collectivist ideology that people either sign up to, they're either for or against it. And in the end, what's going to happen is the market's going to decide. So you'll get fields that are split between fields who are anti-headshots, and you'll get fields with an attitude of it is your responsibility for your own safety, wear what you're comfortable with. And at this point, the market will decide, and people will go to the fields that play the style of airsoft they want to take part in. I guess that's how this is going to play out in the end.
Instead of, oh right, we all play airsoft, we're all in one big family, we're all trying to rock on and get things better. It's us v them, they're not.
But yeah, so he goes on again a little bit there, all the same stuff. If you go to the First and Only website, you can probably see the entire live stream and some of the comments that people made during the live. Personally, I will not attend events that have their number one rule as no deliberate headshots under any circumstances whatsoever. That's their number one rule of the waiver. I stand by that. I have stood by that for years, and I'm unfortunately unapologetic about it. I don't agree with the ruling. I think it creates many problems on the gaming field and within the community. I hope that's addressed the point, or the point I'm trying to make. And I'm not impressed by him lying about my very hot gun, which is not very hot, and him making aspersions about my intentions. My intentions are very clear, and I've made the same point for a number of years now. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.